You ended up in EastEnders as one of the first black families. As Hattie Tavernier, you were the daughter of the Taverniers. I mean, how did that come about, and what was that like?
Again, I was doing music at the time. I was in a group, and we thought we were going to get a record deal, and we didn't, and we were at a real low ebb. And I was working in London Weekly Advertiser, selling advertising space. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Cold calling people, trying to get them to buy advertising space, and I was not good at all. And then my agent said, there's an audition for you for EastEnders, and they'd seen me on Grange Hill, and so they knew that even though you're young, you've at least got a bit of experience, which always helps with TV, because TV is quite fast when you shoot. So knowing that you're quite experienced helps. So I think that helped me that I'd done Grange Hill. And I think in the end I did 3 auditions and a screen test, and then I was told that I had the part, which was just, it was great news. That was the program that all my family watched. My grandma wasn't just kids anymore. Like Grange was just kids, but EastEnders at the time, 18 million people were watching per episode. And that's when you realise how big something is, because suddenly you couldn't go anywhere without anyone mentioning it. And I thought, I'll just do this for a few months, and then I'm doing an interview, gorgeous. To wait. I just thought I'd do EastEnders for a few months, and then I'll carry on with my singing, and it'll help the singing. And because I was in a group, the 2 guys rapped and I sang, and we were kind of like, I suppose I'd like to say the Fugees. I mean, we weren't like the Fugees, but we're just in the sense that we're the Fugees as in the format. That hadn't even been done at that stage. It was so early on.
It was called Amorphous, I think.
Amorphous, we were so we went a bit deep in that name. But we had all these concepts. We were writing songs and raps, and that was really my life. And then so when EastEnders happened, I thought, well, this will help us. And then you realise that you want to do more of EastEnders, and you're challenging yourself, and you're learning more and more and more. So in the end, the group broke up, but I still had some songs, and I still wanted to sing. And then I met a management company, got introduced to one, and I had some songs from my Amorphous days, and they said, let's go for it.
Nice one. So did you reform the group for those songs, or was that a solo career?
No, that was solo, because in the end, in the beginning, I did say, well, what about the band? But they felt that, I mean, they didn't understand it. This is like England trying to say to a quite poppy record company already that the music I'm playing to you isn't pop, first and foremost anyway, and then we're going to have 2 rappers and a singer, which it sounds silly now because it sounds so normal, but I'm telling you, it's never, ever, ever been done. And these were not people that understood rap or hip-hop or in any way, and they just felt that singing would be, because I had a song that I just sang all by myself, and that's the one that got me signed, and they put it on my album. They just felt that they wanted me to just sing. So in the end, I had to say to the boys, well, they just want to sign me, which is like a real difficult conversation, because we'd grown up together. But they understood it, and they got it. And we had broken up. We were on a hiatus anyway, even before I'd got EastEnders. So, so they knew that was a possibility, but it was just a hard conversation to have.
I can imagine.
And then in EastEnders, so you've gone from representing Black youth, Black and brown youth community, hip hop community, and now you're part of the first whole Black family that have moved into the East End. You know, how did that go in terms of representation, because I remember everybody watched it. Everybody was watching it. And then you're like, okay, is this black family African? Are they Caribbean? Which part of the Caribbean? And there was this kind of like, I think it's a generic BBC Caribbean accent.
Well, I think we've definitely meant to be Jamaican.
Okay.
But then these are things I remember like debating with them. Well, if I'm Jamaican, why is the surname Tavernier? Because
Tavernier,
that
exactly.
name is French West Indian. Listen, all those conversations you probably had in your home, I had with them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so then I felt that they felt that the dad would be Jamaican. And I can't remember what my mum was supposed to be after that, because I had that conversation with them. So they're like, okay, well, you're not fully Jamaican, the family. And then they were just silly things. Like, I remember doing a scene where I was washing dishes and then they were really soapy. And then the director was like, now just put it on the draining board. And I was like, there's just no way on this
That's not quite how it works, mate.
Soap suddy dishes on a draining board. And he was like, why not? I said, I could never go back to Harleston. That'd be the end of it.
Oh my God.
So I had to just tell him that cultural difference, and like we've got to rinse plate, and this every West Indian family will know that. And if I don't do that, it's not worth me going back to Harleston.
Like Michelle,
my
don't
family
wash her. She don't rinse her dishes. Don't go to Michelle. You get chicken out of home.
There is code switching and there is there is code switching and there is social suicide.
Right. Exactly. I know if she presented it like that, I would never be able to go back to my hometown. So it's like so it's a bit of a hold up, and then they allowed me to rinse the dishes off before I put them down. So we used to have things like that, like we were cooking saltfish and ackee and planting. So they listened, but we had to have those conversations. But I'm grateful that they listened to them. They didn't go, tough. They listened and they thought, okay, we accept that's a cultural difference. The thing they really listened to me on was, originally they wanted me to go out with Ian Beale, and they had a meeting with me about it. And I said, I just think it's really good to represent Black families. Watch this. I just thought it'd be really good to represent a young Black couple, because there are Black couples in this world, and on EastEnders you've never really shown that. And I just thought it'd be really good to for representation wise to show that on a national show. And so they agreed to that too. So I've got to say that they did listen. They did listen.
Well done. Very well done. And of course, that's Mark Monero.
That's Mark Monero, the wonderful Mark Monero, who was a legend. Like when we were kids, he was one of the kids that we looked up to because he was just so talented. So when they said him and Gary Beadle, when we were kids, really well known as being super talented actors. They all went to this. I think Gary Beadle went there as well. They all went to Anna Sher. Yes, I've heard of it. And honestly, we looked up to Gary Beadle, Mark Monero, and Dexter Fletcher, and they're all.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, Dexter Fletcher went there as well, and we just, as kids, we thought
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
That's right.
That Dexter.
Director now.
Oh wow!
But we just always knew that those guys were so talented.
Fantastic.
So when they said Mark Monero, I was just like,
yeah,
I was really chuffed. Really chuffed.
Fantastic. And then of course you did that for a couple of years, about 3-4 years, I think. And then the next thing we know, there's a single out called Sweetness that just blew up. And every girl wanted to be Michelle, and let's not talk about what the guys wanted. Sweetness. Tell us about that. Was then. Tell us about Sweetness.